Welcome to Superledger Podcast, episode number 114. Different episode here today. There's no guest per se, just going to be Articulate and I just kind of getting everybody up to speed what's transpired in the COREUM, Superledger, and now what's called the TX ecosystem. A lot's changed here in the last couple of weeks. We have a lot of content out there explaining it, but nothing really just from start to finish, what's happened, where we are, where we're going, and how to prepare. Many people that are just still holding these assets on the XRPL that are going to need and have an interest to bridge them very soon to the COREUM, or now called the TX mainnet. So we'll demonstrate the use of the Superledger bridge to COREUM and a demonstration with the Leap wallet. These processes are best done on a PC or laptop, not very mobile friendly. So this demonstration will be capturing the bridge on a laptop device. So let's just get into it. So we had proposal 29 come about. It was passed, 92% mandate. So basically there was a vote to merge these two communities into TX1. So historic level of community engagement, the statistical data extracted from the immutable on-chain record on MinScan reveals a level of stakeholder engagement that qualifies as a significant outlier. While the COREUM network maintains a standard quorum requirement of 40%, the actual turnout for Proposal 29 reached a staggering 92.12% of total eligible voting power. Turnout indicates the proposal was viewed not as a routine software update, but a strategically material event. The mobilization of such vast staked voting power over a 5-day period, February 5th to 10th, 2026, suggests a community that is acutely aware of the network's long-term roadmap. A turnout exceeding 92% is significantly above typical governance participation levels in decentralized networks and indicate that token holders viewed the proposal as strategically material. And the results with that 92% turnout was yes in support, 87.2%. No was 0.38%, and no with veto was 12.22%. While the 87.2% yes vote provides the highest level of legitimacy for the TX ecosystem consolidation, professional analysis cannot ignore the 12.2% no with veto contingent. In Cosmos SDK governance, veto is a high conviction signal of friction, suggesting a minority but notable segment of the population has specific concerns regarding the migration's implementation. Nevertheless, with nearly 482 million COREUM in favor, yes votes outweighed the standard no votes by a factor of over 228 to 1. This overwhelming support removes social and political ambiguity that often plagues major protocol shifts, providing a unified foundation for the next phase of the network's evolution. All right, so for external stakeholders, specifically enterprise developers, validators, institutional partners, this vote acts as a powerful governance strength signal. Enterprise-grade solutions require more than just one robust code. They require predictable and coordinated governance environment. This landslide result serves as a massive de-risking event for the COREUM ecosystem, demonstrates that COREUM is not a passive network, prone to chaotic forks or stakeholder apathy, but a mature Superledger-aligned community capable of making strategic decisions with speed and clarity. By consolidating under the TX banner with such a high degree of internal alignment, the network positions itself as a stable partner for institutions looking to deploy scalable, secure, and interoperable blockchain solutions. The future of the Superledger, the passage of Proposal 29 is more than a successful vote. It's consolidation of vision. By migrating into the TX ecosystem, COREUM is doubling down on its mission to power enterprise solutions on-chain. This move streamlines the Superledger vision, creating a more unified front for institutional adoption. So with that, introduce everybody to TX. New website for the project is tx.org, and all the information for what we know to date can be found there. They have several papers on that under the white papers tab, and a lot of information under the Go Vote tab there. Also, Articulate, that's kind of where we're at now. Big turnout, big vote. It's good to see the community come out in full support of this. Yeah. Give the team and the project the clear signal that they have everybody's behind them, ready to transition into this next phase here. So what's your thoughts on that so far, and what parts do you like about this?
My thoughts is that yes, it was a necessary change. There's a lot of points where people in the ecosystem were trying to figure out, just how everything would work and come together and how it would look. How different parts would operate, but couldn't see it clearly. So I think in those times the team was trying to also iron out those things and make it work, and the solution was to merge, to bring two projects, two tokens together in one, two communities together, and two teams. That's a lot, consolidation. It's not like out of the necessity of like somebody externally coming to buy them out and you don't know the future. It's the same teams. It's just that they're consolidating to make it more concentrated in terms of the work that they could put out, how they could pitch and market this product and this chain. So I think just in general, this time capsule between when the voting started to now has been a re-education for people in the community and outside of the community. So we saw, different points of views of how people felt, what they knew, what they didn't know, right? So it was a big learning moment as well. Overall, I think it's for the best. This team has built futuristic technology, in my view, from the past. So from like 2020, Bob was talking about tokenization and where they see that fitting in the future. And look, fast forward 6 years later, they're rolling out this plus whatever improvements and partnerships they made in addition to that. So I think it is the culmination of focused build towards a solution, a product, a service, a team, a technology that is going to solve and make things easier for everybody, right? So that focus led to this point now where they're ready to deploy it. And for me personally, I couldn't be more excited, because the reason why I got into these projects is because of the, what they were about, tokenization, of real world assets, and seeing COREUM and what it was doing and what it can do today. It's still, way ahead of most chains out there. There's things about it that makes it the one and only chain that has these features. So I know once the word gets out and the team starts marketing it, and I know people who use this or are looking for solutions like this will find a CX chain and the marketplace and just the operating system, as the team says, fitting for what they're doing. It's an end-to-end solution, and it brings it together. I hear more and more people in the community are saying, yes, I can see it now, like I get it. And I think that wake-up moment is going to hit also the institutions and, more countries around the world. So I couldn't be more excited about this time. We're 18 days away or so until this happens, and I'm looking forward to when the world gets introduced to smart tokens, and that to me is the part that brings it all together. What the smart token technology allows this blockchain to be capable of.
Yeah, absolutely. And to further expand on this merger, it's not just the Sologenic ecosystem and COREUM merging together. The other component to that is the compliance layer
Yes.
with Texture Capital.
Texture Capital, yes.
So it's the merging of all of that into TX, and looking at the team, what does that look like, right? Like you had two different projects. You had a team at Sologenic, you had a team at COREUM. Obviously these tools are working together. There's a lot of crossover there, but it is two different businesses to run, operate, facilitate, yes, and try and regulate. That's the big thing. This is all trying to be done to be the first in the United States to provide tokenized US fully compliant securities. So you have to consider that. Do you put that both projects through that scrutiny, or consolidating to one, right? So it makes sense that this had to happen. The other part is there's a major tokenomics change, and that's really what's getting a lot of the conversation right now is the change in the tokenomic structure. Not so much on the COREUM blockchain, or the TX blockchain itself, proof of stake blockchain. Those rewards, that structure stays in place. But with this merger is a token generation event, and what that's going to do is going to convert the Superledger tokens over to TX at a ratio of approximately 1 Superledger to 2.29 TX tokens, and then COREUM tokens. That infrastructure all stays the same, so that literally just gets a ticker change to TX instead of COREUM. So that's what all lies ahead. But it does bring these two teams together. So, and that's part of this story, a big part of this story. And I think it's one that we should look at a little closer. That I think maybe a lot of people aren't really recognizing through this merger, is it's bringing these two teams together into one, and a new structure to it all together. So, taking a look at that, we have the leadership team. Mike McCluskey, the CEO. That's many people in the COREUM Superledger ecosystem are familiar with. He's been the CEO there well over a year at least, and with the organizations for, I think, 3 or more. So everybody in the ecosystem is quite familiar with Mike. New to the team is Ashley Ebersol. He's the chief legal officer here, and he's a big piece of the equation here on a regulatory front, is a key architect of U.S. digital asset regulation. Ashley brings over 15 years experience advising Fortune 100s, Web3 ventures on securities regulation, former senior counsel at the SEC, and partner at Brian Cave Lighton Paisner LLP. So, that's fairly significant. You have somebody coming from the SEC background sitting at the leadership team of what is known as TX. And then you have Norbert van Nobelen, and he is the CTO of the operation, engineering veteran, 15 plus years experience building high scale fintech and blockchain systems. Norbert held leadership roles at global enterprises like DHL and Accenture, and served as key contributor to the original COREUM and Superledger infrastructure design. So he's been around, he knows both these projects intimately. And then this is the big part, like I said, the layer of adding Texture Capital to this. You have the advisory board. Here you have Richard Johnson from Texture Capital, CEO, and he has over 20 years financial services experience as an innovator, influencer, and leader. Previous leadership roles at Greenwich Associates, Societe Generale, LiquidNet, ITG, thought leader in industry, having authored numerous articles and research papers on crypto and blockchain. Most recently, anybody that's followed the SEC crypto roundtables in Washington know that he was present and contributing to those roundtables as they were happening. So really interesting to hear his thoughts on this ecosystem at those hearings, knowing his position here at TX. Bob Ross and Reza are from both representing CoreNest Capital as advisory boards. They are the original co-founders of Superledger and COREUM, and now they are fronting the CoreNest Capital VC fund, and obviously still very integrated into the entire ecosystem and on the advisory board. And then the team members, like I said, you have a large fleet of very qualified people working on both these projects have now been consolidated into one. They are all there to be seen. Some are familiar faces, some are new faces, but nonetheless, this is the powerhouse team behind what is now known as TX. So, so that's a breakdown of the team, and I think the compliance part of this story is to me what's most important. As you said, many of us got into tokenization, the vision of tokenization that Bob and Reza had back when they founded Superledger. I was definitely one of the early users of the tokenization simulator that they had on the XRPL. Here we are all these years later. They had to create a new blockchain, COREUM, achieve what they had to do for the tokenization infrastructure. Like you said, the operating system for tokenization. The XRPL did not have what they needed for the smart token technology. They built it. It's been live for several years, providing huge value. And it's really what sets it apart. So now we're at this, like I said, adding the compliance layer to it. That's what turned us into TX. So I'm just really excited to see that their vision's finally here, and we're going to see how that rolls out as far as a product.
Yeah, it's like, finally, and we get to see I think the market will also get to see the other example of a tokenized asset, right? Because we've seen different types like synthetics and so forth. And I think when TX goes live, it's going to be the first of its kind type of tokenization with the underlying asset and also using smart token technology. So I think that's going to make a huge difference to what's available today and set this ecosystem apart, because that adds another layer of security to the asset that you're tokenizing. So like you could imagine, and I did read on the website that there is some EVM compatibility as well. So I would imagine maybe you have more builders and developers coming across to build on here, seeing the interoperability factors. There's a two-way bridge to the XRP ledger. I did notice the team mentioned the router recently, so liquidity router and the EVM, access bridge. So there's going to be a lot that you can do just out the gate. I think of RLUSD. That's on the Ethereum and XRPL, and this ecosystem is one of the most regulated, compliant stablecoins out there in the market, and you have a fully end-to-end solution that captures or incorporates those ecosystems and interoperates in between them. I could see traffic and assets start to flow throughout these ecosystems and through the marketplace. So it's going to be a wake-up moment because there's a convergence of different things happening. We have the Clarity Act in the mix. We have X money. We have the cash tags, the smart cash tags on X, where you're going to be able to view assets with their live price and charts, and then you could take a link and go out to a platform and trade. So I think just in the next few weeks and months, there's going to be a new market that emerges out of the market structure, basically. So it's going to kind of regulate the stuff that don't need to be here, and the stuff that needs to be here are going to be properly identified and clarified. So I think that's going to give investors a lot more confidence, and those who view this market as risk is going to be more risk off. And I think that's going to be a formula that is good for the timing of these projects coming out. Involving even solo techs as well. If it's a full release or a partial release, that's going to bring value and also allow more people to access assets they weren't able to before. So making a lot of these illiquid assets liquid. So I think that's going to be a game changer moment that we're moving towards right now, March 6th at the start, but onwards from this technology gets introduced, I just see that more and more people will be interested in this ecosystem, especially people who are regulation minded, compliance minded, wanting to do things right and safe and build solutions and products that can be customized for their basic needs. I think that's the big deal with this chain and this ecosystem, is because ISO layer compatibility and just the stack that you can do here on a regulated, compliant way. So I do believe that once this gets launched out, it's just going to be the moment smart token goes mainstream, and it's going to be a very impactful moment.
Yeah, you bet. Let's take a look at the TX website just to familiarize those that are maybe new. There's going to be a lot of Superledger holders that maybe never even looked into COREUM. I know the wallet holders are far exceed the amount of COREUM wallet holders out there. So just to make sure everybody knows, and we might be introducing some of these terms to listeners for the first time, like smart tokens and the bridge and all that. So we're hoping to show everybody here kind of what that's all about. And so before we get too far into it, let's get into a quick look at their website just to see what they're trying to put out here. We looked at the team here, so let's just see what they're building here. It says here, built in the US. That's a key part of this. They are moving the headquarters back to the US. Own your world and own your future. infrastructure, compliance, liquidity, all built in. So on their site here, you can join the wait list as a trader. You can get early access if you're an issuer of an asset. Developers, the access to the GitHub here. All right, you can see some of the validators that are on the network. Ecosystem partners there. There's some big names: Keyrock, Ledger, Firebox, BitGo, Braille, CoreNest VC, Keyrock. TX is an all-in-one solution for issuance, compliant distribution, and secondary trading. Billions of dollars of real-world assets are moving on chain, but the infrastructure is still fragmented. All assets on one marketplace. You can diversify your portfolio at the speed of crypto in one TX. Instantly trade between US stocks and RWAs, all within your mobile wallet. It says coming soon to the App Store and Google Play. So this is not just a blockchain name change. This is actually going to be a product, an app to use, a marketplace, if you will. So here's kind of a glimpse of what that might look like. See home, markets, portfolio, wallet, analytics, global markets in one TX. From issuance to global distribution, TX powers the full tokenization lifecycle. Through a network of regulated financial intermediaries, assets launched on TX can reach investors across North America, Europe, and LATAM. All right, so they got listed here the broker dealers, as mentioned before. This is a big part of it. Texture Capital. They're bringing the SEC and the FINRA paperwork that's required to make this all happen. They still claim they're going to be the first ones to offer a product like this in the United States. It's a big deal. Day one asset issuers. Solotex. So that's why I wanted to get through this. You know, some people have the impression that TX and Solotex are of the same. Quite the opposite, actually. Solotex is just going to be a product available on and built on the TX network. So as you can see here, that's what's Texture Capital is kind of the compliance part's really getting behind, is 5,000 plus stocks and ETFs for retail investors, tokenized on demand. So that is scheduled to launch very close to day one. Also have Crop2. This is commodities, agricultural commodities, including wheat, barley, corn, hazelnut, and soybean. These aren't clickable links through to learn more at this point, but I'm sure as the day nears that, we'll learn more about it. Definitely contacting some for discussion if they're willing at this point, but we'll see what happens come launch day here. Limpid, alternative assets, including real estate, show jumping horses, and luxury goods. So they're very, very niche products there. CoreNest Capital, VC investment fund focused on startups in El Salvador. This is a big deal. Reza was on the X Space we hosted a week or so ago. I'll put a link in the video description there. He said CoreNest will be one of the first ones to deploy on the TX network. And what are they working on? Well, they got a host of different companies in their portfolio, but more importantly to that, in my mind, is the partnership they have with the government of El Salvador and the tokenized VC fund. That is what I assume Rez is referring to, saying that they're ready to go on or near day one. So that's a big deal. $125 million tokenization of funding through the government of El Salvador coming on chain. It's a big deal. And I think it's a big deal because it's going to set somewhat of a template for others to emulate. Divin Labs, access to 70 wineries worldwide. Car Crowd, industry-leading collectible car syndicate organization. And X2 Capital, one-stop shop for sports, finance, providing capital access to European professionals football clubs. Reboost, early-stage European residential real estate projects available to private investors. Digital equity ownership of oil and gas assets in the Permian Basin, Texas, USA, and that's with a company called Tokenized Energy. So these are the folks that are looking to come out as this goes live in March. So it's a big deal. There's a lot of interesting assets encompassed in that group there. Articulate anything that sticks out to you in that.
I was impressed to see 9, to be honest. I didn't know the amount of issuers that would go to market on the launch day or day one, or what time frame. I thought we were gonna probably wait until hear what it's to come, but we're launching with 9 issuers and different asset classes, right? So you have the wineries, you got the sports club, football clubs in Europe, you got the real estate, you got luxury cars and race, horses and stuff like that. So it's a wide array out the gate, So I think that to me is gonna be a very big thing, a big deal, because I don't think it exists. This marketplace in this form, I don't think it exists today, where you access so many different types of tokenized assets, but also do other things. You're gonna have like other ecosystem projects like Pulsara, Cruise Control, and stuff where you're gonna be able to move assets back and forth from these platforms. So I think this is just the start, and it's a big start. Based upon the Kraken partnership. They're coming with a validator. I think they said Uphold as well, and the issuers, 5,000 stocks on chain, and more. I think those are all high level, big deal, big ticket moves, and will make a splash, when they do come out. And I'm just excited because the page to me, I just feel like the patience is paying off, because we've been through the growing pains of this ecosystem, these projects, and also the tech. When new upgrades are made and changes are made, etc., and to bring us here. So I know once the team got to where they need to tech wise, the focus shifted on how do we utilize this, and how do we deploy this, and so I can see the work that went into the planning and the detail of this. And you mentioned El Salvador. I was actually trying to find the bank out there in Latin America that partnered with CoreNest for this venture at the gate. That was the first bank partnership. But yeah, it's one of the biggest banks in Latin America. The name is slipping me right now, but what I'm saying is that the way this is happening, just by the fact that it's the first blockchain to do a lot of things, the first ever enterprise grade blockchain, the first Superledger, the first tokenized as VC fund in Latin America is done on this chain. The first bridge to the XRP ledger. The list goes on of how much this chain is ahead of the market in general. Because I believe that if other chains could have, they would have, or if other ecosystem could have, they would have. So this is a robust chain that can handle high throughput trades and high velocity trades, transactions, and looking forward to how this scales. We had conversations with Reza in the past about institutions and what they would look for, and some of the things he mentioned was solutions for privacy and the possibility of spinning up private side chains to facilitate institutions and so forth. So this is just the start. Like, this is the first real, I guess, introduction to the world of what this tech is, and they're coming with a whole marketplace, a whole operating system. For normally a chain launches, they go to market. It's sometimes just the chain, right? It's sometimes just maybe one or two products, but this is a whole ecosystem that's being launched, and I'm very excited right now, and I'm very optimistic about what the future holds for how they're doing this, and the partnerships, and just the level, the tables they're sitting at. The Kraken CEO that we're about to enter into a partnership with is sitting at the innovation table with the CFTC and other leaders in the blockchain industry, including Coinbase and Ripple and other players in the financial TradFi, right? So this is a big deal for them to be sitting at that table, and for them to be entering into a partnership with us simultaneously while being, rolled out. I think, maybe not a coincidence, but I think it means something, right? We're about to do the market structure where the assets with utility and that's going to be a part of the financial raise are going to be separated. And for this to have this high level rollout and partnerships already out the gate, I think this is one of the assets or ecosystems that's made for this time when the market is mature and structured, and now you have the Gen 3, third generation layer ones that were purpose built for this time, which is going to be from now until. So we're passing this testnet beta version of blockchain technology as we know it, and we're entering into deployment and utility. And I think that's the moment we're in right now. And this is why TX, COREUM, Solargenic is going to market. And it only makes sense for me.
Yeah. And we're starting to see that turn over into institutional investment into the ecosystem, but that's going to expand into institutional use, enterprise use of the technology also. And that's a great part of this. We'll maybe expose that a little later in some documents we'll go through. But this product's also a white label product, and then basically a way to interact with this compliance layer that's into this TX ecosystem here. So a lot of exciting things to break down. What does this mean for holders? Just on the surface, COREUM converting to TX, as I mentioned earlier, it's 1-to-1. That's an automatic conversion, no action required. Solo to TX is at 1 to 2.292756, and that's going to be via a swap tool at solargenic.org. I'll bring it up a bridge demonstration a little bit later in the conversation here. I'm sure very similar to that process. Major exchanges have aligned to support the merge, ensuring global liquidity for the new TX token. Now, this is a big part. Currently, liquidity with COREUM, with its current tokenomics, the high ratio that's staked, like near 90% of the COREUM token, mainnet COREUM tokens aren't circulating. And I think we had almost 70% staked directly and another 20% non-circulating. So it was very illiquid, but not just that, very challenging to onboard. There was not many places to just go buy mainnet COREUM and then use it from there. So this is really going to change that with the Kraken listing. And another big part of that is I'm not hearing many people talk about, but Uphold partnership and validator, that's huge because Uphold does hold a lot of COREUM and very friendly with our XRPL friends also, and Solargenic, and that tells me that we're finally going to get a mainnet integration between Uphold and the TX network, which would be huge in itself. So a lot of very positive things are happening because of this, and now that you can see all the pieces falling together, you can kind of see why Mike's saying, like, this had to happen, right? It wasn't just should we do this? It's had to happen to get the conversations and the people at the table that they are.
Yeah, there's something that came across my mind while you were talking, and it also brings me to a big part of this that's not talked about at all, and it's the power of the COREUM DEX that's going to power this, right? We kind of have covered in the past, the rollout, how we interacted with it, how we interact with it on cruise control and on Pulsara, but we're going to actually have more to play with here with the DEX, right? More features and more parts of it where we can interact with it through the TX marketplace. Now I'm reading from the vision paper, right? And there's a section that speaks about the network, where it speaks about unified tokenization infrastructure in terms of the solution, unifying Solargenic and COREUM and the reasons why. But the second paragraph there gives me some insight as well of what to expect. The network is engineered for institutional scale with predictable fees and throughput designed for large volume markets. Native interoperability with XRPL, Cosmos, Ethereum, Solana, and more ensures tokenized assets can circulate seamlessly across chains. Are you catching it yet? A built-in order book style DEX and AMM allows market participants to provide liquidity, enabling secondary markets that have so far been absent from tokenization. Are you catching it yet? You get what I'm saying? So currently this doesn't exist. And we're bringing and introducing the rails where you can access these tokenized assets, but the secondary market to trade them as well. And, this is a big deal. And then they're saying, you could move this across chain seamlessly. That's a big deal.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you think about, we read a couple of the tokenized, issue. The issue was coming day one, and you see what they're bringing. Now imagine that you don't need to leave your Solana wallet. You don't need to leave your EVM wallet to log on to TX and trade these assets. That's a big deal. We're not just launching for the Cosmos or the COREUM or the XRPL ecosystem. We're launching for for the whole blockchain industry. So eventually, as they're saying, more to come. And I would believe by BNB and the other ecosystems like that would be a part of that base, etc. You're gonna just not need to leave your wallet. You just don't have the app. You go onto the app and you just access these assets. And that, to me, that is the silent part that's not getting talked about much. The power of the COREUM DEX and what's going to enable with the smart token technology for these assets to do that you can't do today.
Yeah, absolutely. And compliance is built into that, right? You see that here. I just brought up the vision paper since you brought it up there.
Yeah.
And 1.2, the solution here, unified tokenization infrastructure on TX compliance and issuance are embedded directly into the protocol via enhanced token programmability, avoiding potential friction implementing features such as KYC, AML gating, freezing, whitelisting, and blacklisting. So issuers and investors can meet regulatory requirements without sacrificing efficiency. On-chain enforcement makes reporting and auditing straightforward, enabling institutions and regulators to trust the integrity of blockchain verified activity. Unlike legacy issuer-centric models, TX is built for the demand side, giving institutions direct, frictionless access to tokenized assets. The network is engineered for institutional scale with predictable fees and throughput designed for large volume markets, native interoperability with the XRPL, Cosmos, Ethereum, as you were saying, like it's all there, right? Powerful product that they've built, and obviously many in the COREUM ecosystem seen this developing, but it's a thing that they've been chasing for years, even going back to Sologenic, is the compliance part of this, right? They knew what they needed for the infrastructure. They went out and built it themselves, but the compliance part was still that elusive piece. And through the years, the course of the years, political winds have changed. And it's a lot more crypto-friendly administration in the United States right now. So that certainly helps. Obviously, it's probably part of the reason they've decided to move headquarters back to the U.S. Really going to set them apart in my mind is what they built ahead of everybody as far as the tokenization. And that's why you keep seeing them refer to as an operating system, right? Like the standard, the many in XRP, the standard, like I think that's what this is intended to be, is a tokenization standard.
Yes.
That's because of its interoperability, right? So yeah, a lot of very valuable information in these papers. I'll have the links all in the video to explore yourself. Encourage you to check this out yourselves. But this is what many have been hearing, and these numbers are going up as the years get closer to it. But 30 trillion by 2034, right? So that's a significant amount of asset tokenization that's expected. And
that's
you're
not
talking
a long
about,
time, right? That's not far out.
No, not at all. No, their core mission, our mission is to unify global finance, providing trusted, compliant operating system for tokenizing real world assets, giving every investor seamless access to opportunity on chain. So what's the long-term vision with that? TX's long-term vision is to become the global standard layer for real world asset issuance and exchange. We believe that every asset will be tokenized, transforming the world into a living marketplace of opportunity where ownership becomes as seamless as sending a message on the internet. Picture an ordinary city block. The local sports stadium ticket revenues and sponsorship rights are issued as compliant tokens. Restaurants raise expansion capital through fractional revenue share instruments that settle nightly to investors' wallets. Office towers stream rental income in real time. Patents, music catalogs, and film royalties are shared by creators and fans alike. Public equities, once trapped on siloed rails, trading in limited hours, move with finality across always available venues and custodians. In this world, everything is not only consumable, it's investable. The line between user and owner dissolves as participation becomes part of daily life. The true promise of tokenization is not simply efficiency, it's access without boundaries. TX's vision is to power markets where geography, income brackets, and institutional barriers no longer dictate who can participate in value creation. So that's the thing. Like, they're creating a marketplace that whether you're a retailer, institutional investor, you're going to be side by side. Now, obviously, there's going to be products that, as a retail user, you're going to have to be fully KYC'd on, but going to coexist in your current digital asset alongside your current digital asset. That's huge. Core values. The foundation rests on 4 guiding principles that define how the protocol is built and operated. Compliance, number 1. Regulation first framework operating through a curated network of regulated partners. Liquidity. TX connects primary issuance, secondary trading, market makers, and collateralization from day one to ensure efficient markets and real price discovery. Interoperability. TX enables cross-chain connectivity, universal standards so assets can move seamlessly across venues, custodians, and jurisdictions. And security. Institutional grade security is built into every layer, from custody and compliance to consensus and monitoring, ensuring trust and integrity at scale.
Yeah, I found something here, and I'm still on the DEX because I think the power of the COREUM DEX, the TX DEX, is going to shine through in all of this when people realize, the speed and the things you can do. When we talk about the DEX, when it was rolled out, we were talking about setting, like, the ability to set your asset to trade in certain jurisdictions, time zones, etc. Like, it's a smart DEX, and I think that's going to be something that is introduced as well. So I'm on the section where 4.6, decentralized exchange, and then the bidirectional and permissionless trading. So I'm going to read from that 4.6.1. All right, so the TX DEX allows any user to create orders for trading any token pair through a bidirectional and permissionless order book system. Permissionless trading means when a user places orders, the system automatically creates necessary market infrastructure without requiring permissions or manual setup procedures. This approach ensures immediate trading availability for any smart token pair while maintaining efficient resource utilization. Bidirectional trading means that TX does not have a fixed base and quote denom for a pair, a staple part of sexes, and no denom in the pair is given advantage over the other. That sounds like a level playing field. We've heard about the level playing field forever. I think this is it. The users are allowed to choose either token as base and the other as quote, and the DEX module will handle the reversal of orders in both directions via a two-way matching system. TX DEX employs a sophisticated two-way matching system that processes orders within their primary order book while simultaneously checking corresponding inverse order books for optimal execution opportunities. Smart router. This approach ensures that orders are filled at the most favorable rates, whether within the same trading pair or its inverse, maximizing trading efficiency and price discovery. I think that's a huge deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So there's a lot of gems in here, right?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot going on right now, and it's certainly what we're trying to do is show people the finer details, the finer print. It's a big change, obviously, and there's definitely need for conversation around it. But a lot of people are just kind of caught up in the change of the tokenomics and what's this mean for me, and aren't really focusing on the finer points and these problems that they're bringing solutions to. And again, not just bringing solutions to, the first to bring solutions to these problems in the United States. There's many tokenized stocks out there that are synthetic products. That it's just a wrapped stock. You don't have any ownership or rights to that stock itself. It's just a price feed that's represented and attached to that stock. This is something totally different. This is full ownership of the stock. That means voting rights. That means dividends, fully interacting with your stock, and that stock is in your actual possession. Whereas right now, even in the TradFi, like nobody's holding their stocks. And back in the day, like I remember seeing, the stock certificates, people would have them in their safe at home.
That was when they used to own it, right?
Yeah, those days are gone, right? And but that's why you have organizations like the DCCC that we hear so much about, right? Like they're the custodians of all that that data, and I think there's a larger part of this story that I think is going to interact with assets such as that compliant nature of this blockchain and product.
Yeah, reading the white paper, the vision paper, and just all the information that has come out about TX. Brings me back to a lot of interviews and videos of seeing with say people in government or in TradFi describe, even sometimes Larry Fink, he would speak about this unified ledger, that is capable of doing all these tokenized. He describes it like he knows exactly what the tech is and how it works. We're seeing a ledger being unified right now that gives us the capability that a lot of networks are not able to do right now. It's the only Superledger, and it's being the first to do a lot of these things, right? So I think those mean something in the greater scheme of things, and as you said, the standard that is being set right now. So just like the market structure bill is setting a standard and regulations around how you can interact with the markets and what to expect, I think this TX operating system is going to be. You hear about RippleNet, you hear about their software and operating system that they use. This to me is similar, mirroring, what that means for integration and adoption going forward, right? Everything is going to be tokenized, and if this ledger is kind of being rolled out in, to me, the highest way, and has the right tech stack, has the right security and stuff behind it, it seems like this might be, if not one of the chains that are being described by these institutions and governments about the unified ledger and the level playing field.
Yeah, exactly. And a big part of that is interoperability, right? Not forcing everybody to come to your silo. And you kind of alluded to it earlier, but this kind of expands on it. Multi-chain architecture. TX implements comprehensive interoperability solutions, enabling seamless integration with external blockchain networks and traditional financial systems. The platform serves as a bridge between decentralized technologies and established financial infrastructure through multiple connectivity mechanisms designed for different use cases and technical requirements. So obviously, the IBC is one of them, and that's already been integrated for since its inception there, pretty much as COREUM years ago. TX integrates natively with the IBC protocol, providing direct connectivity to over 100 blockchain networks within the Cosmos ecosystem. So that's already been well used and established. XRP ledger integration, again, it's a couple years up and running already. TX implements a canonical bridge providing decentralized bidirectional asset transfers. That's the big difference. This isn't just about moving assets off of the XRP ledger, XRP to another chain. This is a bidirectional bridge between TX and the ledger. This bridge enables access to traditional payment networks and institutional banking systems that utilize XRP ledger infra. The implementation maintains security through decentralized validation while providing efficient transfer functionality. The XRP Ledger Bridge supports various asset types and enables integration with traditional financial messaging standards, including the ISO 20022. This compatibility facilitates enterprise adoption. And you were talking about the Ethereum connectivity. Cross-chain bridges enable connectivity with Ethereum and layer 2 scaling solutions, providing access to established DeFi protocols and liquidity sources. These bridges support both fungible and non-fungible token transfers. That's big. While maintaining security through validated bridge protocols and automated verification mechanisms. The Ethereum integration enables TX users to access established DeFi protocols while providing Ethereum users access to TX native features, including smart tokens, protocol-level DEX functionality. This bidirectional access creates opportunities for arbitrage, cross-chain applications, that leverage unique capabilities of both networks. Not just the tokens, it's the fungible and the non-fungible. That's huge.
Yeah,
That's not a lot of that going on right now.
yeah. So it tells me something, and we're going to, because currently we're not able to do some of these things, like the Solana and the EVM right now, So we're also going to be. I thought some of these things were probably a year or two out, sometime out, but it brings it a lot closer. This is like 2+ weeks out, and
Yeah.
it makes me excited because we don't have long to wait for this to come to market, but also the people that are going to need to know about this tech, this ecosystem, the educational facet, and help them too, because they might need solutions, and they might come here and see what smart tokens are capable of, and spark a new use case. So yeah, I think it's go time. We're definitely seeing a re-energization, if there's a word like that,
Mhm.
in the ecosystem since the announcement of people getting ready. Some people are changing, rebranding, etc. And it's like the ecosystem was kind of just going, but now it's like it's on some momentum. So I think going into a launch or rollout or deployment with this momentum, I think is going to be good, because everyone is kind of communicating more and cross referencing, working with each other. It's like a lot going on in the ecosystem. It's buzzing again. So I think this spark is going to be key to bring us into a successful, launch and adoption phase. Because as you read, I didn't even get to that part yet, but these cross-chain capabilities, I think, are going to be very key. It's not that you can come here and tokenize and stay here. You can move your assets across chain. And to me, that's going to be something that makes a huge difference. And the secondary markets as well, like you could, tokenize something, have it, and trade it. And as they said, you don't have a default base pair like our base. You set your own, So to me, that flexibility, and as the team said on the space recently, with that, you're gonna be able to make a lot of assets liquid immediately. The way how the DEX interact with the router, and the fact that you
Mhm.
can put them on secondary markets ASAP. I think, to me, the combination of that is going to allow these assets to kind of start being traded, and start to get some momentum. And one of the key things they said on that space too was each issuer is bringing their own users and crowd. So you think about the fact that we have our ecosystem, we have projects here, we have our community, but it's going to be a conglomerate. It's going to be a merger of communities. You're going to have the people from the wine world, the sports world, the gaming, the entertainment, the trading. It's going to be just a convergence of all worlds. As I speak, I can picture it like this is what this is. It's the hub, the meeting place. And to watch this come to life, it's a surreal moment, because, as I said, I saw the vision of the team, and I kind of suspected, we're kind of a little ways off, building towards it. But they went into stealth mode and came out with the products and the products, and they came with tangible things. And I think that speaks volume of where we're going. And it's not just that they're trying; they're at the highest levels, and the where it counts. We're at the best tables. We got the best seat in the house, the best partners. So I think the combination of that means a lot for now and the future. So if we could get out the gate with a former SEC as a co-founder of TX, at that, imagine where we are 5-10 years from now, with different partnerships and different people that are brought on board. It's going to get very explosive, in my opinion. I can see the demand that's there. They've been drumming up tokenization for a while, but there hasn't been a real full end-to-end solution like this in the market yet. So I think when this comes to market, all the demand that has been pent up will start to find its route, and some of it, I do believe, is going to find its place here.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, many communities come together.
Yeah,
There's plenty of people that are just holding Sologenic that were anticipating tokenization, to be on Sologenic. I said I used the tokenization platform simulator years ago. And so they're now this is what they've been waiting for. So they're going to have to find their way here. Last I looked, there's well over 200,000 wallets holding Sologenic.
yeah,
That's 10 times what we have currently in the COREUM ecosystem holding wallets. So, and then, like you said, each of those asset issuers is going to have their own community and interest around their products, and great opportunity to, what's the use case? That's what I heard say. What's the use case of the TX token? And said, well, the same as COREUM's been for the most part, but it's expanded
yeah,
somewhat, I'm sure, with this merger. So let's just see what it says in their words. Section 5 in the vision paper, asset issuance. TX enables a tokenization of diverse real-world assets across all verticals, creating digital representations that are compliant, transferable, and liquid. This includes real estate, equities, bonds and structured notes, fund shares, intellectual property, commodities, artwork, museum artifacts, sports-related assets, and more. By providing a standardized infrastructure for issuance by regulated affiliates, TX reduces costs, accelerates time to market, expands access to previously illiquid or inaccessible asset classes. So then this is a big one. We kind of touched on it briefly earlier, infrastructure as a service. At its core, TX is an operating system for tokenization, providing third-party issuers, regulated entities, and institutions with the infrastructure needed to operate in a compliant and efficient way. This includes technology, a purpose-built proof-of-stake blockchain optimized for compliance, speed, and interoperability. Compliance, integrated and customizable KYC AML features for TX chain, programmable tokens, including jurisdictional restrictions, investor tier requirements, and lockup rules. Affiliation with the U.S. broker-dealer and international regulated entity network enables compliant RWA issuances worldwide. So, this is a huge part of the package and why an issuer might want to come use the TX chain. You're not just getting a blockchain that has the token and the tokenization infrastructure. You're getting the whole package, tech and the compliance, all included. Liquidity, secondary markets through the native TX order book, and connectivity to global partners, enabling tokenized assets to achieve depth, transparency, real-time price discovery. That's the thing, with more major exchanges carrying the TX token. What's that mean for TX issued assets? You have one as
I was thinking
representing.
about that. I was thinking about when we just started and you had mentioned global liquidity on day one. Yeah, we're gonna be listed on Kraken, and bring it closer home. Like Kraken is in Europe, MiCA approved white paper. We're going into a new market, as well as we're going to be launched out in the markets we already are, plus other new exchanges, right? So on day one, you're going to be able to trade, access the TX token from your centralized exchanges, your DEXs, and wherever you're at. And I think that's going to be, as you said, good for native assets, ecosystem projects, the exposure out the gate, but also the fact that these are going to be markets where you tokenize stuff. You're reading, you get access to the liquidity in the markets, the secondary markets to trade it. So, yeah, I like the way
and an in-house broker dealer. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? If you're issuing an asset, it's one thing, but issuing an asset that has a broker dealer that makes it a proper transferable security, it's a whole other conversation. And that's what TX is bringing to the table here. And so many people are not seeing that, and that's it's great that we can get together and just talk about this and get some of that out there.
Yeah.
Onboarding and KYC network. TX directly onboards users through TX app for a frictionless KYC process. Once verified, users can seamlessly access any partner project in the TX ecosystem without repeating onboard steps. So think about that. All those issuers, you don't have to onboard for each and every one of them. You're within the ecosystem, you're KYC'd, you're good to go. This shared KYC framework establishes a trusted identity layer across the network. And I was just thinking about across the network, an interoperable network, allowing issuers and exchanges to instantly tap into a pre-verified user base.
Smart
While
tokens,
investors,
man.
yeah, yeah.
Smart
While
tokens.
investors benefit from fast, compliant, and borderless access to tokenized opportunities. Tooling, this is another big one. No code white label dashboards for issuers and investors, enabling asset management without requiring deep technical expertise. All right. So we've issued a token on the COREUM
Yes.
network. I've done so using the traditional, like, what every feature you can choose from. You've done so on the cruise control platform, which is, it was a more limited way, but it has its own benefits and reasons to do it that way too. So like there's multiple ways to even launch an asset on the TX network, but the full suite of smart token features is what's powering all of these things that it's talking about: the KYC, the interoperability, the smart contracts. It all goes back to that smart token tech. Tokenized gateway plugin. I want to highlight it. There we go. TX provides a plugin that allows crypto exchanges, asset users, issuers, and other platforms to seamlessly offer tokenized assets to their users via TX's regulated partners. Who is that? I don't know. I'm speculating. Is that Kraken? Is that an Uphold, BitTrue, that type of thing? Through a plug and play module, these platforms can instantly expand their product suite beyond their offering, unlocking access to regulated equities, bonds, and other RWAs. This transforms TX into not only an issuance platform, but also a distribution and liquidity engine for the broader crypto ecosystem. So just think of all the projects out there that just say, we don't need to build it. We don't need to go get the broker dealer. We don't need the KYC. It's all here. It's all here ready just to plug into the operating system.
Listen, this is what I'm talking about. Like this is, I think it's bigger than even we can scope right now, because we have fragments of the information or the full what it entails or where it's fully going, but the glimpses of what we're seeing right now, it's really, really powerful, and it's going to shift our reality as we know it. As they're saying, end to end, you have your liquidity, your transfer agent, your broker dealer, all under one roof, your markets, your liquidity, everything. Like, you see what's happening out there. Like, even recently Solana had to, pause again, so there's that because of liquidity or whatever, but it's just that there are experiences happening today, that you would have thought that, at this point in, where we're going to be merging with traditional rails, a lot of things wouldn't be a reality. And I think this is why tech like this is being rolled out at this time, because some of these legacy chains are still, still have upgrades to do, still faulty. Like Ethereum, I think Vitalik came out recently and said, Ethereum, still needs some upgrades, some work. There's still ways to go. So with a robust infrastructure like this, I can't see this not succeeding. It answers all the questions. They took time. I remember just, when they put out information or we spoke to them or, we had videos to watch, they would speak about, what people were looking for, what institutions needed. And they built it. They built the end-to-end solution, the software, everything that you would need. And this conversation, to me, that they'll have going forward is just going to be yes, deal closed. It's not going to, all the questions are answered, like from what you would need as Rails and infrastructure. And I think that takes the headache out of, even some people who weren't prepared for ISO transition, etc. I think this year is one of the next deadlines for that on another metric. This comes with ISO and everything. So you won't need anything else pretty much when you integrate this chain or when you start using this ledger. So I think it's going to create more stickativity, like more people coming here and staying, using it, not necessarily just holding the token and waiting. you're gonna see the people talk about how easy it is, how the smart tokens make a huge difference, the trading experience. So to me, I'm looking forward to that because we get to actually document that. And that, to me, that's a huge part of history where the tech that possibly could change, because this is also a token, a chain that can integrate and work seamlessly with AI and robotics. So think about where this is going when the smart features are now, the smart tokens are now integrated into robots and AI. And now you have the logic where the robot has its part where it's thinking and stuff, but it has logic in itself, in the token, that it has different, it expands what they already have. So now the information that the AI has, like that knowledge base, now you can direct that knowledge and give it use and movement and cause through the smart tokens. So the smart tokens would tell how to disseminate what goes where, and so I think we're about to experience that after this rollout. How this gets integrated into that part of things, as these two narratives are running side by side, tokenization and AI. They're two big narratives right now, and
I was going to say that's almost
that.
a whole separate conversation and video.
Yeah,
You're taking everybody into the weeds here, but yeah, it's a big part of it for sure.
yeah,
But yeah, we'll have to expand on that whole piece down the road because
yeah,
it is going to be even more important, and not just that. Network security is also affected by that, right? You see,
yes,
seeing Crypto.com today announced that they're the first AIM certified exchange out there, basically saying that they're AI marketplace secure, in today's day and age. So you're going to
nice.
start seeing more of that, right? So
Yes,
it's definitely worthy of mentioning, because just think of like all the transactions we're used to seeing and doing as retail. That's going to be like tenfold once you're getting all the box transactions that are going across chain, right? So yeah,
yeah.
there's going to be some significant changes around
And
for sure.
hence supply. Think about
Mhm.
it. If we're having AI agents, where are they going to get the tokens to like do these, thousands and billions of transactions? So this supply, I think, makes more sense if you factor in things like that. There are going to be use
Yeah.
cases that involve their need for tokens for these, agents and stuff. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. It's all part of the story. There'll be lots to cover and follow here. You'll see us putting out this content in various ways. You have your ways, I have my ways. We bring them together here for the
Yes.
Superledger podcast, and typically we have guests, but we just wanted to sit back and spend some time, without the chaos of an X space and everything around the conversation, to really highlight some of these finer points that I fear being lost in conversation right now.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate because we only have 3 weeks to TGE and Kraken and other listings. So this is the information that we want to get out into circulation so people can understand the scope of what has been built here, right? Like, we kind of take it for granted. We're very familiar with smart tokens. We've covered all this, but we're starting from scratch.
Yes.
For those that follow me, my YouTube channel, COREUM Concepts, is now rebranded to TX Concepts. All that COREUM content is gone. I've removed it just to prevent confusion and while people are trying to learn about TX, or what's this COREUM? How's that fit into this, right? So I just kind of unlisted all that content. So we're redoing this, kind of exposing this blockchain for how it is, what it works, the team behind it, piece by piece. And this is, kind of the first moment that we're doing that. But you're going to see my content coming out specifically, really detailed in that to take it down piece by piece, because each of these, we've covered these in individual videos and conversations in the past, but now that these pieces are all come together and we can see that their vision, that what they've been working on here the last year, and what it all entails, even the pieces that we knew about, now that they're all together, are bringing us some surprises and some greater understanding of how this is all going to work together here. So just wanted to continue on real quick with a couple more points here on the topic of integrations there. Institutions and enterprises can integrate directly into TX via APIs and SDKs. This enables banks, fintechs, and asset managers to launch tokenized offerings, build investor-facing products, and connect to TX's compliance and liquidity rails without rebuilding the infrastructure. TX enterprise-grade integrations make tokenization a practical reality for institutions at scale. Now, it's just adding to what we were saying there previously. So this is a big piece. This is how it's going to all work. Like, we've been used to the COREUM blockchain and how it sits, but this is actually a TX marketplace, real world asset marketplace, tx.market. TX introduces a dedicated marketplace, tx.market, designed to serve as a central hub for tokenized real world assets. The platform consolidates the fragmented tokenization landscape, offering both retail and institutional investors a single venue to discover, evaluate, and trade tokenized assets across multiple categories, built to seamlessly integrate exchanges, blockchains, and global payment systems through bridge technology. TX is designed to remove the barriers to entry and enhance the overall user community and experience. What's that take us to? Here we go, TX Marketplace. A lot of people haven't seen this yet, so here you go. For those that haven't, this is coming soon, you see. Visit tx.org. We've been there. You can see here's a listing for a luxury residential complex, investment summary. You can invest now. The issuer, you can see a solo text, KYC verified, fully licensed, 5+ years. You know what I mean? So you got all this information on a residential asset. And then you can see more common stocks listed over here. Yeah, so that's kind of like the first look, still coming soon. But that's where this is heading. That's what they're building towards. And the great part is we're not going to have to wait too much longer. That was one of the reasons why it was easy for me to really accept this big change so readily, is because this plan wasn't like, hey, this is our 3-year plan. We're going to make this pivot and work towards this. This was like, we need to make this happen. We spent the last year building everything we need to make this rollout successful. We've got the exchange listings, the partners, new validators, institutional validators. Like, we haven't even talked about the institutional validator set on this network yet. And that's almost a conversation in itself, too, a video in itself. But they had all this ready to go and said, like, we need this to happen to take the tokenization vision to where it needs to be. It wasn't going to happen as is, right? So now we can see why. You go through this paper and see all these pieces put together. You can see why it's not one or two of them. It wasn't going to make it happen. It needed the full package to roll out what their vision was. And that's why I think they can boldly say they're going to be the first. Nobody else is doing it this way. So pretty exciting times, in my opinion, as far as that goes.
Yeah, for sure. March 6th is going to be a very historic day. And what to expect, right? If you hold Solargenic, you'll need to take action. If you hold COREUM, you don't need to take any action. So Solargenic, there's going to be a swap, a bridge, where you're going to be able to bring your tokens over from Solargenic into the TX blockchain at a ratio of 1 to 2.29 per solo. So you're going to be able to do that on March 6th. So everybody that holds Solargenic, bear that in mind. You don't need to do anything right now, but on March 6th onwards, there's going to be a portal available for you to switch over your assets to the new token. And one thing I'd advise you, not financial advice, but just something that I do, and Chris does it too. It's, you might want to stake your tokens, because you get APR, rewards coming, and you can take advantage of that, and also tap into DeFi capabilities over here. You got cruise control, you got Pulsara, here you got a TX platform marketplace that's going to be available that day. So you're going to be able to use your tokens out the gates once you bring them over. So, and in a big way too. Currently, you're just able to trade them, maybe buy some NFTs or do other things. But now you're going to be able to do a whole lot more with your tokens and gain more. So you could put it into liquidity pools and Pulsaro and cruise control. You could do a lot of things that could bring you back more value than currently just holding it. So just bear in mind, we will be covering, the rollout, the launch. So you will have more information, but just want to add that there now so you could be aware that that's something you need to do on March 6th onwards, that you need to visit the Superledger portal when it comes available and swap over your tokens to TX.
Yeah, you bet. A lot of these topics are worthy of a video themselves, and we will be breaking those down in the days, weeks ahead for sure. A combination of videos, X Spaces, articles. But yeah, there's lots of value. We're just looking at the numbers. There's between XCore and COREUM, there's almost 300 million tokens that have never been bridged to mainnet COREUM sitting on the XRPL, right? So mainnet's been live for over 3 years, or coming on 3 years here. The APY is roughly around 40%, and it's actually significantly higher right now because of this transition. There's a lot of tokens unbonded from the foundation. So that just forces the blockchain to increase the rewards at the moment. But nonetheless, 40% plus rewards for years has been missed. There's an additional reason now to bridge that across. It's that you'd still be exposing yourself to that same reward structure by staking. You can see stake with COREUM Community DAO. That would be nice to support what we're building there and the products that we put out to support the ecosystem. But the value in that is going to increase with this new format from TX. Has a PSE program, it's called, where it's basically 7 years of additional unlocks to go to people staking, securing, and participating in the ecosystem. So the ROI is going to be significant and hopefully enough to motivate people to bridge that across. And and part of that, I think, has led to the team to this happening, right? Like, just think about that. Like, I think we're around just under 900 million tokens on COREUM mainnet, and you got 300 million that are floating around as IOUs on its former network, the XRPL. That's a lot of liquidity it's just not moving anywhere, right? Sure, people have it in some pools and that here and there on the XRPL, but it's not serving its purpose to secure and grow the COREUM ecosystem, now the TX ecosystem. So you can kind of understand the need, and then also the need to incentivize. I mean, like, the incentive that people have had to move those tokens obviously wasn't enough, and now I'm just assuming with Superledger officially being merged into one, no longer being a need for the Superledger token on the XRPL, combined with the increased rewards and incentives, that liquidity is finally going to come home where it was intended to be. Again, make those communities become one, right? Like I said, it is a larger part of the community that is looking to come from the XRP ledger to here. And it's crazy to say, like, you and I and many in our community have spent years, trying to explain to our friends and family in the XRPL ecosystem, like, look, there's value here, and it's not just the staking rewards value. There's value for projects that are built on the XRPL to integrate, not just to come here. I mean, just to integrate back and forth, to use the COREUM and the IBC connection to further expand their project. Maybe you can route into the EVM that way, or whatever the case is. There's a lot of untapped potential. Like, the XRP community didn't fully embrace just the transfer of their tokens to the mainnet, but also the smart token features that can enhance what they've built on the XRPL. And now you see it these years later. The XRPL is building towards smart programming and smart escrows, and you see X using smart tags. Like, these guys were so far ahead of everybody with tokenization and smart token features, and here we are. That's what I'm excited about. Sorry, it's kind of a long trip around to say, but that was why I was excited is this is here. This is weeks away. Like we got 18 days from this actually being rolled out. So many of us have been here for years, and so it doesn't matter which side you're on, Sologenic or COREUM or combination thereof. This is the moment we've been waiting for. So hopefully we've had some ability to bring you some finer details to understand, like, maybe you didn't understand smart tokens and their functionality and the value it's bringing, and the importance of on-chain KYC, and how that translates to now what we see: one product, one KYC, multiple issuers have access. So these pieces are coming together. I guess a few things I wanted to make sure we get to before we do end is to get some people prepared for how is it going to look. If you haven't ever bridged your COREUM over, maybe play with it now. Get it over, get it working. I can tell you right now, the APYs are exceeding 60%, just because of the unstaking that's happening in this transition. That won't stay that way, but nonetheless, now is a good time. So if you are just on the XRPL ecosystem and haven't interacted with COREUM mainnet, or now TX mainnet, or any ecosystem beyond, the Cosmos-based wallets are some of the easiest to integrate with. I personally think Leap is the easiest for new people. And again, when you're working with the bridge on Sologenic and trying to bridge across, a PC laptop is the way to do it for best results. Make sure you're using the proper website and apps for the Leap wallet. Very important to get that right. I will put the link in the comment of the video and their X handle, so you can navigate there safely if you haven't Leap already. X page. And that's what you're going to want to use to integrate your current XRPL-based wallet to the new TX blockchain. You would want to navigate to sologenic.org/bridge. Now, I'm just assuming come March 6th, you're going to see something more specific to merging your Sologenic to COREUM, but it'll probably look somewhat and work somewhat similar to what you're seeing here with the bridge. So once you're on all right. So once you get to sologenic.org bridge, if you got to it just through Sologenic, the bridge tab's up top here, as you can see. So you connect to the bridge. And so your origin is going to be the XRPL. So you can see it's already populated my XRP wallet that's on this browser. And we're going to connect now a COREUM mainnet wallet, which I don't have done already. Let's see if this works. So I'm going to be using Kepler in this example. There we go. All right, so I have a address up there now. So then you'd want to, what are you bridging across? You can bridge COREUM IOU assets or many others, as you see on the list. And then your destination address, you want to enter that COREUM address. So just hit autofill so it populates there. Shows you a proposed route, as you can see, 1 to 2 minutes, and then the details. All right, so once you populate it, it'll show you your fees. Let's see if I don't have any tokens in here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, so it won't quite show it that way, but nonetheless, this is what the bridge looks like. You hit the continue button, and away you go. And so just a word of a warning, this is the one thing that stops most people. And I will do a bridged video here, a new one, TX specific. The thing that stops everyone on this bridge procedure is it says, caution, you're about to black hole your tokens. Are you sure you want to do this? You won't get them back. Yes, that's how the bridge works. They effectively get burnt on the XRPL, get minted on the TX network. So that's a look at the bridge if you haven't been there. I will release a video showing the full bridge process. And that way you can see it all in its flow as it should. And like I said, come March 6th, in that same area on sologenic.org, you're going to see a place to merge your Sologenic tokens in a similar fashion. So got that covered. I have an old version of the bridge tutorial, but it needs an update. So this is a good opportunity to do so. Just a reminder, participating exchanges are going to be Kraken, Uphold, BitTrue, Mexi, and Gate.io. So that'd be another way to interact with that TGE when it goes live on March 6th also. And I think I've covered everything that we wanted to get there today. Is there anything that we left out, Articulate, that you wanted to tend to before we shut things down today?
I think that's it. Maybe the snapshot announce that.
Yeah. Actually, there's a couple things to talk about there. COREUM Community DAO. All right. So COREUM Community DAO, we have a snapshot every quarter for those that are staking to the COREUM network. That it entitles you to our CCD quarterly rewards. So we have CCD token that we give as a reward to help us grow and do community engagement and building. And you can find that token on the Cruise Control platform in the DEX there, and also on Osmosis paired with TX tokens there. And the snapshot's March 21st. So you want to get staking with COREUM Community DAO by then. You can head to COREUMCommunityDAO.com is one way to get there. And it's got a little, I'm doing it on the wrong screen. Here we go. It's got a stake now button that should take you to the Restake app if you choose to restake and compound. And it was, see, there you go. APY 69.25% right now. That's not normal. Probably not going to stay that way. It's just because of the transition. I know, way. So XRPL people with XCore and IOU COREUM, 70% ROI right now. Get yourself the COREUM Community DAO validator. Get yourself staked. If you need a hand with that, we're always here to help you out. Of course, get you set up. You can reach out to us on our Discord, Telegram, X accounts. We're pretty easy to find in that sense. Lots of community in our Discord to help also. So addition to that, what do you do with the CCD tokens? Well, we got a updated white paper coming out to explain all that. Currently, we do have a promotion going on too. Not too sure how many days are left in it. I'll have to check, but COREUM Community DAO put up 5,000 COREUM tokens and 50,000 CCD tokens to add additional reward incentives to the Cruise Control CCD TX token pair. So you can take advantage of some extra rewards there. And I believe Articulate, your project has extra reward incentives on right now too. Is that correct?
Yeah. So on the Cruise Control DEX, then the pool with the marked COREUM pair, TX pair, we added 100,000 mark tokens to the pool. We're just about halfway. I think you're just about halfway too. So there. So I looked, I think it was just below 50,000 tokens that were left. And that same with the CCD pool, it was like 2,500 or so. So we're just about the halfway in that incentivization effort. And I'm actually thinking of, keeping it going for a little bit, keep the pool incentivized and keeping the, because it's a way of staking your native assets there. And, shout out to the team at COREUM Labs Cruise Control. They're doing a great job at just providing the ecosystem with robust, DeFi capabilities and, tools that we need. So yeah, check out Cruise Control. We have some pools, incentivized pools there where you could earn additional tokens. In the CCD pool is COREUM and CCD that you get to the reward. So you don't want to miss that, before the TX transition.
I had Cruise Control up and I was looking at it as you were saying that, but let me get back there and go to what the DEX is. As you say, you go to Cruise Control and you can go to the DEX. You can see all the COREUM assets on the DEX here. You can see the CCD COREUM's got rewards attached to its pool. And there's also some other promotions. COREUM USDC's got rewards, COREUM Solo, Sarah COREUM, and as Articulate said, Mark COREUM there. So yeah, it's good to see. And then you can isolate those by just clicking this little rewards button over here. Boom, there you go. These are the ones with rewards are over funded, I guess. It has additional assets generating rewards for the liquidity providers on top of the fees that they generate. So some really good APY opportunities there on cruise control. And then something I wanted to point out here, I just happened to do a lending borrowing article last night. So you can find that on my X page there, because Elwin shared the white paper in his Telegram, and it was pretty technical. It was a pretty heavy read, but I kind of got what he was getting to, and it was interesting, exciting. So I broke it down a little bit more layman's terms to simplify it for my mind, and I shared it as an article there. I see now it used to say coming soon, but I see now it says Connect Wallet for beta access. So if you want to get involved in that beta access, I assume the time to contact him would be now for that. Are you in that beta access?
Not yet. I don't know if they officially announced it. I know that they were doing final testing, so I was waiting for.
There's a link to the Telegram group right there. Yeah, very interesting tool that he's building there. I think you're definitely going to want to at least read my article, the simple version of what he's building there. Get yourself positioned to really take advantage of that. 0% loans on chain, really interesting structure, lots of opportunities, whether you're the borrower or the lender, and a great tool that he is building on the TX network is going to bring a lot of attention and liquidity based on what I'm seeing there. So I'll put a link to that article in the description of the video here too. So, all right. I think that's it. I think we'll wrap things up here today. Stay tuned. We do have some exciting guests lined up for the next few episodes of the Superledger podcast. I don't want to tip the cards quite yet. Several from the XRPL ecosystem, but that's good because I don't see it being much longer where we're going to have a lot of content in the TX ecosystem, new participants, new users, new issuers that we're going to want to get on the show and introduce to the community and help them build a community around what they're doing here. So I want to thank everybody for their support. You can find us doing our X Spaces every Sunday. Articulate and I get together still Sunday, 12 p.m. On X, just to get together for the TX talk, as we're calling it now moving forward. And you can see us pop up in other spaces there too. Make sure you give Articulate a follow, putting out a lot of good content and articles on TX, and also the Smart Meme token project there that he is heading. A lot of valuable insights there. Make sure you head to smartmemetoken.com, check out his site. It's a beauty, and a lot of good information there too. So that's it for today. We'll wrap things up here today. I want to thank everybody for showing up, and make sure you please share the space. And if you have any questions, reach out. Happy to help. Peace and prosperity to you all.